Hello, and welcome back. I'm Odie, your operatic Italian tutor. Today we're going to be analysing a beautiful piece, a very sad piece this time again, unfortunately. It's called O cessate di piagarmi by Alessandro Scarlatti. This is a piece I really do enjoy because it really showcases, one, control over your voice, which is very important, but also expressive potential. And there's a lot to be had in this piece. So, let's dive right in, and let's begin by reading the context, which is always incredibly important. This is a late 17th century aria from Alessandro Scarlatti's opera Il Pompeo, now widely performed as a standalone piece. The text is a direct outcry of suffering. You beg your beloved to stop wounding you and to end the cruelty. The imagery is physical and immediate, with wounds and torment standing in for emotional anguish. The musical writing is plaintive and repetitive, heightening the sense of desperation. This is a very, very, very painful text. Perhaps the most painful one we're going to be analysing in this series. Perhaps the following aria. No spoilers yet, but of course, if you've downloaded the booklet, check the link down below. You already know which one is following this video, but it really just is incredibly sad. I mean, from the very beginning, you start with a semitone. Oh, cessate di piagarmi, oh, lasciatemi morir. Oh, lasciatemi morir. It's very sad, very sad. Please excuse my voice. I'm still recovering from a cold, so yeah, singing's a little bit difficult. Now, let's read the text in Italian. O cessate di piagarmi, o lasciatemi morir. Luci ingrate, dispietate, più del gelo e più dei marmi, fredde sorde ai miei martir. And that's it. Now, you might be wondering, but how did recordings last 2.5 minutes? Well, the text is very short, but there's a lot of repeats, and that's the point. It's this desperate plea. And now, let's read the translation so you make sense of what is going on. So, oh, cease wounding me. Oh, leave me to die. Eyes, ungrateful, pitiless, more than the frost, and more than the marbles, cold and deaf to my sufferings. Now, this is not immediately clear, I understand, so let us analyse. Firstly, something I'd like to note here. You see this in the title, okay, fair. This or. Now, this could either be or it could either be or. So, if it's or, oh, you would pronounce it with or, an open or. But if it's either this or that, which is or in Italian, it will be closed or. Now, it doesn't really make much of a difference because when you say, again, I've stated this before, we don't pay much attention to open-closed vowels. But what is interesting here is that there's two slightly different readings, both of which work perfectly well. So either, oh, cease wounding me, oh, leave me to die, or either cease wounding me or let me die. Whichever reading you prefer, they both essentially mean the same thing. But it's a very beautiful little thing here, given that you have these two options, both of which are very painful. So, oh, cease wounding me. Oh, leave me to die. Eyes, ungrateful, pitiless. Okay, we're still making sense of what's going on. more than the frost and more than the marbles, I beg your pardon, cold and deaf to my sufferings. Oh, cease wounding me. Okay. Oh, leave me to die. Okay. Eyes ungrateful. Eyes? In this case, you're referring to your beloved. Your eyes. You. Ungrateful. Pitiless. Pietà, we've seen this before, is pity or mercy in Italian. Dispietate, without mercy. So, you, ungrateful, pitiless. More than the frost and more than the marbles. So, frost is cold, right? Of course. Marble is widely used and has been widely used because of the fact that it retains, it keeps houses and buildings cool because it retains a lot of, it doesn't absorb very much heat. So you are cold and deaf to my sufferings. So you, luci, you are fredde e sorde. You are cold and deaf to my sufferings. What does that mean? You don't care about my suffering, about my torment, about my anguish. And you are as cold and as deaf as, where is it? Frost. Sorry, you're even more deaf and even more cold than frost and marbles. So it's pretty intense accusation. If someone is even colder than frost itself, that means this person is pretty bloody cold. That's it. The text is very short, but you understand how incredibly painful this is, and you need to convey this when you sing, especially since the intervals as well are very, very painful. So you start with the semitone, ta 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 ta, ta 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 ta. You have a descending leap of a minor fourth, a minor sixth. It's very sad. It's very tragic music. So I'm not here to teach you how to sing. That's not my job. However, what we work on is understanding and meaning. When you understand this, the language, and you also understand this, the music, you can allow yourself quite a bit of freedom in this piece. And I don't even think it's freedom, honestly. It's just singing it properly. Because if you're telling someone, oh, cease wounding me, oh, leave me to die, would you go, oh, cessate di piagarmi, o lasciatemi morir? Doesn't sound very painful to me. So you need to take your time. O cessate di piagarmi, o lasciatemi morir. It has to be painful. Take your time. Of course, I'm singing this a bit too low right now, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point. You need to make it sound painful. Otherwise, why bother? Why bother singing this in the first place? Now, let's have a look at vocabulary and grammar notes. Cessate. Now, this means cease, stop. It's an imperative. It's a second person plural imperative of cessare. Piagarmi. Piagare means to wound. I would also say that here it could also mean haunt. I'm just giving you a slightly more, metaphorical alternative. Literally means wound. Stop wounding me, but also stop haunting me. Stop hurting me. Now, luci. Luce literally means light. And now you might be wondering, but why did you say that it means eyes? Well, in older Italian, it does mean eyes. It's a very poetic, very, very poetic form of eyes. And what do we mean by eyes? In this case, what do you look at when you talk to someone? The eyes. And the eyes are how you get directly to the soul. So it's the most direct way of addressing this person. Because there's nothing more direct than looking someone straight in the eye, like I'm doing right now. This is much more intense than this, for example. I'm looking away. But this is much more intense. So, luce literally is light. In many Romance languages, it's the same. Lux in Latin means light. It's also a measure of light intensity. And in our context here, it means eyes. The actual word for eye in Italian is occhio. Occhio. Plural, occhi. Now, ingrate, ungrateful. Ingrateful. Ungrateful. And actually, you could just read this straight in English, ingrate. It's a much older form, of course, yes, but it means ungrateful. Dispietate. Pietà, we've spoken about pietà before, means pity or mercy. So in this case, pitiless, merciless, with no pity. By the way, note something which we have not mentioned before. So let me take another little color. Where you have, in Italian, a letter with this accent, this is called, let's write this down. So this here is called accento grave, and this is accento acuto, much like in French. Accent grave, accent aigu. And the function essentially is pretty much the same. Where you have an accento grave, it's open, Where you have an acuto, it's e, and works the same in French as well. Now, that's not the point. Where you have an accento grave or acuto in a word, you can definitely know that is where the stress is. So, for example, let's think of another word. Città means city, but città, you can see it's not città, no. You have the accent there, therefore it's città. So keep this in mind. Wherever you see an accent on a letter, that is where the stress falls. Now, de. What does this mean? Nothing more. Day. It's just day, but it's just more poetic here. Marmi. Marmo is marble, literally. Stone surfaces, and as we already stated, it's a metaphor for coldness. Sorde. Sordo means death. Unresponsive as well. In this case, of course. Literally, it means death. Martir is the poetic form of martirio, which means suffering, torment. We've seen this word before. Now, let's move on to pronunciation. Cessate. Cessate. S. And it's not cessate. 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 Piagarmi. Piagarmi. We've seen this before. This here is a glide. So do not sing piagarmi. 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 Lasciatemi. Lasciatemi. SC followed by a front vowel gives us sh. Sh. So lasciate. Lasciate. Also, it's not lasciate. Lasciate. luci. C followed by E, or a front vowel, E or E, gives us ch, ch. So, luci, luci. Dispietate, dispietate. Again, much like piagare, it's not dispietate, dispietate, pietà, pietà, with a glide. Dei. You wouldn't say di. What does it, where is it? Fredde, sorry. Più del gelo e più dei marmi, dei marmi. It's much easier to sing here. Sorde. S gives s, not zorde. Sorde. Sorde. And that's it for O cessate di piagarmi. Let's read the text once again with meaning and impeccable pronunciation. O cessate di piagarmi, o lasciatemi morire. Luci ingrate, dispietate, più del gelo e più dei marmi, fredde sorde ai miei martir. Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful text, incredibly painful, as you can understand, but this is a wonderful opportunity for anyone seeing this to show incredible expression and understanding of what is going on. That's it for O cessate di piagarmi. This video is part of a 10-part series in which I analyze 10 of the most commonly sung beginner arias and pieces from the repertoire. What I'm using here is the booklet I've created, which you can have for free. Check the link down below. And this can definitely help you on your journey to understanding, meaning, and pronouncing things correctly. However, no matter how useful the booklet and these videos are, it's just not enough. If you want to sing with meaning and impeccable pronunciation, you can contact me using my links down below and my website. I offer one-to-one opera Italian lessons in which we focus on what you need so you can learn to sing with meaning, pronunciation, and sing confidently on stage. We work on what you need based on your needs, your desires, your ambitions, your repertoire, and your knowledge of the language. So if you're interested, get in touch. Again, links down below. This is all for today. Thank you for joining, and see you next time.